We are here at the Curious Tales exhibition at SOHO Studios. It's Joanna's first solo exhibition abroad in Vienna. And just let me introduce her real quick. Joanna Turland is a contemporary painter based in the UK. And she graduated from the Wimbledon College of Art, the University of the Arts in London in 2018. She has been shortlisted for a number of awards and prizes already, like the BP Portrait Award, the Klein & Co. Art Award in 2019, and the Signature Art Prize in 2019 as well. So, you have been part of several group shows already, also internationally, and you held your first solo show last year, and this is your first solo show 2023.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So a brief introduction to who are we. My name is Christina.
My name is Christiane.
And we are from the Cultural Association culturebites, as well as representatives of the art gallery Steinrast Art, who is a big supporter of this exhibition that we're seeing here today. And we will be having some questions for you, first from our side, and then if there's some questions also from our listeners. Okay.
So you've been painting for a while. What made you start?
I always had an affinity with painting ever since I left the womb, really. I just always wanted to paint and draw. My nan used to set up all the crayons and colouring books and things whenever I'd go around, and there's some really lovely memories. And at school, it was always something I had a strong affinity for, and I'd always get good marks in it, so it kind of spurred me on. There was a period when I was a teenager, and I sort of really pushed back against it, and I wanted to be I wanted to do STEM or something like really academic, but I was just kind of kidding myself a bit because I love painting. I just sort of felt like it was always the thing I had to do, so I did the typical teenager thing where I wanted to do something else. But no, I love it so much. It's always been there.
And who influenced or still influences your work throughout all the years and still?
So my first love, painting-wise, influences was Lucian Freud. I think I saw a book of his, it must have been Juicy as a Yard or something, and the thick textures, the really sharp brush marks, but the amazing likeness that came through this paint. Like, it was the first time I'd really seen this viscous medium actually look like somebody, and it really kind of speaks to me. So Lucian Freud, I fell in love instantly. And then a little bit later, there's sort of like three main artists who give me the most inspiration. A little bit later in my career, Paula Rego was, and still is, kind of like one of my most favourite artists. And it's not just her application and use of paint and colour, it's the narration, it's the storytelling, which has become so integral to my practice that within her work and her body of work, I really draw on that. And then Goya, Francesca Goya, really, sort of the troubled, the black paintings especially, just that kind of troubled moodiness and all the symbolism. I just love them. Combination of those three, I guess. I could talk forever about it.
But that's quite a wide span of, Francisco Goya is quite a longer time ago.
Yeah.
But we have talked informally before, but I'm really curious now. You said Baroque paintings have a special place in your heart, but your paintings, do you see something Baroque also in them, or do you think
No, but I did to start with my so Caravaggio completely, and just the really poignant use of light, the chiaroscuro, probably say it, like that was just really captivating for me. I love Italy. I have a real big I feel very drawn there, and going to see them in person, and I drew on that a lot, especially in my undergraduate. My paintings were a lot kind of grungier, more moody. I would paint with much more muted tones, and it would be very sort of heavy and have a little bit of a kind of a religious altar vibe about it. But my practice has moved on. I discovered colour and realised that has a really important impact on my work and the way that I want to go personally. Sort of like my journey's kind of moved on from that. But that really was a strong foundation for what I built my practice on.
Okay. So I would dive into the exhibition we're currently sitting in. Well, can you tell us in your words what was the concept for this series? It was made especially for this exhibition, so they have not been shown before, they have not been anywhere before, it's the first time here, and they're one storyline. So what was the basis for it, and yeah, what is the concept for it?
Yeah, sure. So we're here at Curious Tales, and it all started. It was like a really wonderful amalgamation of the ending of a decade, as I was turning 30, having this space and the opportunity to put on this show internationally, and drawing on. I had a few major life shifts last year, the end of last year, which then fed into the work as well. It all kind of revolves around this sense of being curious and staying curious, and it kind of the title of the show came from once I can't remember who told me, it's really sad, but someone told me that the opposite of being depressed isn't being happy, it's being vitalized, and one way to stay vitalized when you're depressed is to stay curious. So to look for, like, to be curious about the smallest things, like what are you going to have for breakfast today, what might the weather do today, and to find those little pieces of gratitude and little ways to stay curious. And I've always held on to that, and I think that really resonated. And yeah, as I was going through some really quite poignant times last year, making some big life decisions and changes, it just kind of kept like mulling over, like stay curious. So that's kind of how the title came about. Yeah, and so all of these paintings are the journey of the last year or so, especially like maybe the last 6 months, kind of compacted. And yeah, I'm really happy with this body of work. I feel really lucky that we got to kind of look at the space and choose a space together, and then we could make the works appropriate with the space. That was really important too. I love how it turned out. I think it was really, really great.
Yeah. You took a bit away also on the next question that I was preparing.
So sorry.
No, it's very, very fine. It goes on along. So you had, you know, when you painted your paintings, you had the space in mind already. So you, yes. But did you also have in mind how you wanted to set them out or lay them out, or was more then of an intuitive thing?
Yeah, I mean, like curation-wise, I think it's been a wonderful collaboration with all of us. Like, I think we've got on brilliantly, and I'm so happy to work with such wonderful people. But genuinely, honestly, I love working to a large scale. So I had in mind that I wanted to have these big personal mythology paintings, hopefully on this backboard, is what I'd always had in mind. But in terms of the curation of the rest of the show, I think because it's all in such a kind of compacted time frame, the paintings work very well together, kind of no matter where you put them in what order, because they're telling a story, but you can kind of look at them in whichever way, and it still kind of feeds all the information that you need. So I think it's a flexible body of work, to be honest, but no, I'm very happy with how it's been curated.
Do you think you could set them in another setting as well, or separate them from each other? You see them as one body and inseparable body?
No, I think, so if you walk around the show, like, as you know, there's sort of different, sort of like 3 different aspects to it. So you very definitely could have those as 3 individual kind of small bodies of work within themselves. I think they work as a collective, but yeah, you definitely could separate them. Yeah, because we've got the sort of tiger series, you know, the archetype of the tiger running through. We then have the close-up kind of from the sort of still life sort of small series, and then the personal mythologies, which is the sort of overarching grander, bigger paintings. And I think they work together, but yeah, they could be separated.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think that would lead me to my question. You share many personal stories in your paintings, and you probably can have a look at them a little later and we'll have a walkthrough. We can show you later virtually, I guess. Which ones would you connect to a good memory, or which ones are not so good?
Ooh, depends how you define good. They're all very important memories and things. I really struggle to paint like happy, good times. I think because I'm just in the moment with those times and enjoying them, they don't have anything to be resolved. Within painting, I'm usually trying to resolve a problem or reflect on something. I think when I'm happy, I'm just, they're just like, I don't paint like the really nice meals that I cook for myself because I just eat them.
Yeah.
Kind of in a similar way. But I suppose the main painting for the show, which is titled Curious Tales, is
the one in the back?
Yes, with the 2 hours and the girl stand. She's actually standing on a hill, not that it's very clear, and that was I took a solo trip to Edinburgh to kind of clear my head. I had a reason to be there, but I wanted to go on my own because I had a lot of things to figure out and I didn't know what to do. And a really funny story, there's this really big hill there, which I would class as a mountain, but it's not, it's a hill. It's called Arthur's Seat, and Google said it was a half-an-hour walk. It's not. It's it's really not. And I was by myself, and I'd had a few beers, and I just thought I'll go wander up this hill. And yeah, long story short, I was sort of halfway up, really considering whether or not I just jump back down. But while I was doing this walk and this like small little hike, I had a real epiphany, and I realised what I needed to do. And it was a very poignant moment where I was like, oh, right, okay. And then I sort of started to make the descent back down. And yeah, that's what that painting is about, just that moment of being curious and being like, actually, maybe this is the way we should go. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good
And on the not so good memory lane, we are walking through here.
Most of them. No, I don't know. I suppose they're all sort of musings of hard times, I suppose. The one of the men I've loved and lost is quite hard to look at. It makes me very emotional because it's a portrait of my late grandfather and my childhood dog, Archie and Brian. So that's, I think within that painting as well, you can see that it was the work is a lot tighter potentially than some of the other brushstrokes that I use in the paint. You can tell that I was very sensitive when I was making it, and yeah, I mean it's not a bad thing at all, but it's just it makes me want to look at it. Yeah, it's important, an important painting. I wouldn't want to do another one. I think that's done, but yeah, it's important.
And you also have you do a lot of portraits and self-portraits. And here we can see a man in the painting on those two, or also in the big one over there. Yeah, do you want to share his story or why he's in the picture?
Yeah, so that is Josh, who's my previous partner, and still very good friend. And he's been a muse in my work for years. We were together for a really long time. So it just made sense for him to still be in some of these paintings, especially as he was at the tail end of this year as well. So it's kind of a wrapping up of, our time that we spent together and our life and separating and all these things. So, he's gone to sleep now.
Yeah. So how is he feeling? How do you think he's feeling about being in Vienna?
Yeah, he really wanted.
Wise.
He actually really wanted to come, but like it didn't work out. Work on the way, but he's here in spirit. So. Yeah.
But you're an artist. I mean, being an artist, so a living off of art, so it's not always the easiest thing to do. But what, so to say, is for you the struggle today of being an artist?
I think finding that balance between staying true to yourself and what the work wants to say and where it wants to go, and then also finding the right audience for that, finding the right curators, gallerists to work with who are going to show your work in appropriate spaces, people that can really champion you and be patrons for you and not just look at you as kind of like a money machine and all of those things. I think it's very easy in the art world for artists to get exploited because we're usually quite sort of like giving introverted people, and the art world can be a very different place. The artist to art world are like there's a big disparity between the two. So they're all challenges. It's quite a hard industry to navigate, I would say. Worth it, but yeah, difficult.
But do you think also it's besides the art market, we will come back on that topic again, that has the perspective or the perception has changed of what an artist's role is as well, or are you confronted with that as well? What you would have to do as an artist, or what you should do as an artist? What is expected of you?
Yeah, I think it's constantly changing. I think the integration of social media has played a huge role in how artists now have to. There's a real pushback. Maybe the younger generation will be better at it than I am particularly, but I find the studio space to be, my studio time to be sacred. I don't want it to be a performance in any way, but there's a lot of pressure of people that want to consume content from you all the time. So they want content of you painting, they want to see it start to finish, they want to really come in and watch behind the scenes, but I can't do that because then you take away the magic of what I'm doing. This is my personal space and my sacred time. But then you're competing with, you know, people that are putting that content out continuously. So you've got these new challenges which come about, and I don't think that's necessarily a terrible problem. Like, I think people, if they appreciate what you do, you don't need to be doing like content all the time, but it's definitely something which has come about. And just the kind of role that painting plays within a society throughout the years, it changes continuously, so that's ever changing. But yeah, I think it's still worth it.
But I'm glad you continue doing it.
Yeah.
But coming back to what you already mentioned, the challenges of the art market. And there has been a piece by the artist Katarina Cibulka on the front of the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna saying, as long as the art market is a boys' club, I will be a feminist. And well, how do you see this when you have shared your thoughts on the difficulties of the art market? Maybe you will want to share some more, but also in relation to this saying, to this piece by
yeah, no, a lot of respect, and I agree with the sentiment. I don't think it's necessarily just the art industry that it's kind of confined to. I think it's maybe like an industry like worldwide problem. But being a female navigating the art world has its challenges, and I've already faced a few just, you know, in my short career since graduating in 2018. It's a constant struggle, especially things like being taken seriously, being made to feel that you're too young potentially. It seems to be this, when I've spoken to other artists like further along in their career, female artists especially, there's this kind of feeling that maybe you're too young to be taken seriously, too young, and then suddenly you're too old, and it's like, where was the peak? Where was the time? But it's all an illusion. It's all silly. So I think it's definitely a very important conversation to have. Not potentially pointing fingers and blame anywhere, just to keep it open, an open, honest dialogue about these things, because they are real and they are challenges for sure. So it's important to talk about.
What do you think could be ways to move against it? So talking would be a way, or
being honest about it and talking, having more female curators, female people in positions of, like, you know, choosing works, and having more female shows. I personally, for a really long time, have wanted to be part of a well-curated group exhibition of female-only artists. That's been on my, kind of, like, when that opportunity comes up, that would be great. So that's been something I've wanted to do for a long time. And yeah, I don't have the answers, but I do definitely see it as a problem and something that should be kind of addressed.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
But that would be nice. And so coming to my now, for me, closing question now. So this is the project ongoing. It's still going to be here till Tuesday, but it doesn't close your work. So do you have already a next project in planning, or are you working, or what are you working on now or after?
Yeah, so I've got the luxury of having a little bit of time, actually. So I've been thinking about it. I've already been itching to get back to painting. I'm here in Vienna for 2 weeks, and it's beautiful, and I'm really enjoying being here, but I really want to put my uniform back on and get back to it. And I just want to experiment. I've got a lot of ideas, a lot of new, fresh kind of inspirations coming through from my time here, and I really want to work some ideas out and spend some time in my studio, not talk to anyone for a good week or two, and just plan some things out. Yeah, exciting.
your painting process, so to say, is a more of an inward process.
Yes, absolutely. It's very much a conversation with my unconscious. There's a lot of, within making the paintings, it's extremely intuitive. I don't know what's going on half the time. I just kind of let it come out, and then afterwards, I feel like I'm constantly catching up with myself. And yeah, but it's a wonderful, it's a wonderful process. It's like dreaming while you're awake, but actually capturing something at the same time.
Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and if you have any questions, please.
Okay. But Joanna will be here for a little bit as well. We will switch on for another, we'll show again the video that we have here. You can walk through again. Joanna will be here as well with us for a little bit. But thank you very much now for this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely.
And yeah. Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.